hardest working. And the only other guy that I've seen that worked as much as Crawford was Floyd Mayweather. So not only is he talented, but he works like he got $2 in his bank account. He works like he ain't never accomplished anything in his life.
On the other side, Terence Crawford remains confident, especially after his dominant win over Canelo. He's gone as far as to claim that not only could he beat Mayweather today, but even a prime version of Floyd would struggle against him. That's where the friction really begins. Mayweather takes issue with the idea that Crawford should even be mentioned in the same breath as him. Floyd reminds everyone that he retired with a spotless 50-0 record, taking on and defeating the biggest stars of his generation, names like Manny Pacquiao, Oscar de la Hoya, Canelo Alvarez, Shane Mosley, and Miguel Cotto. While he acknowledges Crawford's skills, he doesn't believe Bud's resume matches the same standard. Even with Crawford making history as the first fighter to become undisputed champion in 3 different divisions, Floyd still feels the comparison is premature.
Like a lot of things that he was saying, and how he was acting, being that, I'm a real individual. I just felt like, we was all cool at one point in time. And
Floyd Mayweather made it clear that while he respects Terence Crawford's accomplishments, he doesn't see them as placing Crawford on the same level as himself, particularly when it comes to overall legacy and career achievements. In Floyd's eyes, one big win on a resume isn't enough to justify putting others down. He explained that the sparring footage wasn't intended to embarrass Crawford or take away from his shine, but simply to remind fans that he still possesses the skills that kept him undefeated. However, once the clips hit the internet, they took on a life of their own, with many fans claiming the footage proved Mayweather was operating on a level above Crawford.
At one particular time, I did talk about, I did say Terence Crawford.
You beat a nobody, so why would I ever waste my time on...
know exactly what he was feeling and thinking. It's called frustration. When you're facing a Floyd, he got frustrated.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. took aim at Terence Crawford after training footage of the two surfaced. Mayweather explained that the clips were only meant to highlight him sharing the ring with another great fighter, but he rejected the idea that he's jealous of Crawford. With Crawford repeatedly saying in interviews that he could knock Mayweather out, Floyd suggested that Crawford might be letting his recent success go to his head. In Mayweather's view, Crawford is getting carried away by a single big win, one that Floyd insists would have been easy work for him.
What he got to shield him. He got a lot of security guards around him, and he's in the limelight and stuff like that. But in certain situations, he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter, though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah,
but like his core personality and his ways.
Bernard Hopkins has also weighed in on the Mayweather-Crawford debate, offering a more balanced perspective. Speaking to ESPN, Hopkins said he doesn't see the point in constantly comparing the two, arguing that every fighter has their own era. In his view, Crawford has already proven he's the standout of today's generation, just as Mayweather secured his place among the all-time greats in his time. Hopkins warned that these comparisons can actually take away from the present, almost disrespecting what's happening right now in the sport. He emphasized that eras exist for a reason, and it's unfair to tear one fighter down in order to elevate another. For Hopkins, Crawford is in the middle of his prime, and fans should allow him to shine just as Mayweather was allowed to shine during his peak years.
Crawford. Believe Crawford, even though, fought twice, throughout the year, Crawford, was...
But look who he beat.
Undisputed.
Look who he beat. Look who he beat.
I agree that comparing Crawford to Mayweather isn't really fair. It feels like it takes away from Crawford's moment. When people reach across generations just to argue who's greater, it comes off as forced. Mayweather already proved himself as the face of his era, and now Crawford has stamped his name as the best of this one. Just like weight classes exist for a reason, so do eras. That era belonged to Mayweather. This era belongs to Crawford.
Who do you think's better out of those two, Crawford or Mayweather?
I think Crawford is better, bigger. He's actually taking more in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all the way.
Beyond the ongoing Crawford versus Mayweather debate, another conversation gaining momentum is the possible return of Mike Tyson. At 59 years old, Tyson's name is once again being linked to a comeback, and it's raised serious concerns among medical professionals. Nathan Howarth of the Concussion Legacy Foundation recently warned in an interview that competing at such an advanced age carries extreme risks. He explained that chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, has been documented in boxing for nearly a century, and older fighters are especially vulnerable because repeated blows to the head take a much greater toll with age. While Tyson has been showing impressive dedication and training, Howarth emphasized that the dangers cannot be dismissed. He even noted that Floyd Mayweather, now nearing 50, could face similar long-term consequences if he continues sparring or stepping into the ring.
Manny Pacquiao, top 5. You should know that reason. Manny's a generational, talented fighter, but I don't feel like he did it on his own. When Floyd made it a point for him to do the blood test, he didn't want to do the blood test. But then when he did do the blood test, he haven't got a knockout since.
Godly, man, that breaks my heart.
He was aging though.
One thing for certain, two things for sure. What's the last thing that leave you is the power. You may lose speed, you may lose athleticism, but that power gonna still be.
Hopkins' remarks added to a growing wave of opinions in the boxing world. Shane Mosley, for example, argued that Crawford should be recognized as pound-for-pound #1, even ahead of Mayweather. Not everyone agrees, though. Many analysts highlight that Floyd competed in a far deeper talent pool and managed to dominate across multiple weight classes while staying undefeated for over 20 years. Still, Crawford's achievement of becoming undisputed at 140, 147, and now 168 pounds is something no one else has done, and the dominant way he's won those fights makes him look nearly untouchable. At this point, the debate has shifted into one of those timeless conversations with no real answer. Since both fighters belong to different eras,
I just witnessed a GOAT debate get destroyed in real time and a new one be born. Canelo was supposed to come in here and dominate Crawford to show us that he really is the GOAT, someone that belongs on the Mount Rushmore. But Crawford came in and made it look like it was no problem to handle him. Crawford was bobbing and weaving and landed 10-hit combos. I'm watching the fight and Crawford is talking to him. He's laughing in the ring. He's shaking his head. Nope.
But Jones also added that if Terence Crawford does decide to step into the ring again, there's one name that could make sense. In an interview with Titan Play, he floated UFC champion Ilia Topuria as a potential crossover opponent. While it may seem unusual for a boxing legend to call for a clash between a boxer and an MMA fighter, Jones described it as the perfect reward fight for Crawford, a grand spectacle to close out an already historic career. He explained that Crawford spent much of his prime waiting for the recognition he truly deserved, and now that the spotlight is finally on him, he should be given one last blockbuster moment to end on his own terms.
Looking back at like Floyd's career, like him coming up in the era that he came up in, he had all them champions that he was able to fight, and that's what led him to be so great, you know, because he fought the most champions, beat the most champions, you know, got the most money for beating the most champions.
These warnings underline a broader issue in boxing, the trend of legends stepping back into the ring for exhibitions or even full contests long after their prime. Mike Tyson remains one of the sport's biggest icons, but decades of wear and tear can't be ignored, and specialists warn that another high-profile fight could put his long-term health at risk. Floyd Mayweather, on the other hand, has limited himself to lighter exhibitions against YouTubers or MMA fighters rather than top-level boxers, which reduces the danger but doesn't completely erase the concern. If a potential showdown between Floyd and Tyson falls through, some fans speculate that Terence Crawford could be next in line. Still, Roy Jones Jr. has made it clear that Crawford has already done enough to walk away on his own terms, especially after his monumental win over Canelo Alvarez.
The best boxer, in your opinion, right now?
European?
No, world. Best fighter in the world, yeah.
I think it's Terence Crawford.
Many believe it's you. Many believe you're the best fighter.
No, I'm not the best fighter of the world. It's Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford, #1, yeah?
Jones also reflected on his own career, admitting that if he had chosen to retire earlier, right after some of his biggest victories, the conversations about his legacy would sound very different today. With that in mind, he advised Crawford to avoid the trap of overstaying his prime. Instead, Jones believes Crawford should aim for one final unforgettable fight before stepping away for good. At 37 years old, Crawford has yet to reveal his next move, but the reality is clear. His legendary career is entering its final chapter.
Not gonna beat Mayweather. I know, bro, and like even Mayweather undefeated though. He's never been undisputed.
After defeating Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world, is Terence Bud Crawford now the GOAT?
Right. You feel me?
Right.
And if this man can win undisputed for the third time, bro, I'm giving him the GOAT. I don't care who you is.
In the full belt era?
He the GOAT.
Oscar De La Hoya also weighed in with a bold perspective. Speaking to the Daily Mail, he was asked who could beat Terence Crawford at his absolute peak. Without hesitation, De La Hoya answered, Manny Pacquiao. In his view, a prime Pacquiao was simply too fast, too powerful, and too explosive for Crawford to handle. He reminded fans that Pacquiao dominated the sport for years, capturing world titles in 8 different weight classes and defeating elite fighters across multiple eras. For De La Hoya, a matchup between a peak Pacquiao and Crawford wouldn't have gone the distance. He believes it would have ended in a knockout.
I have to disagree because Floyd Mayweather toyed with Canelo. Like, he literally toyed with him. He didn't get hit at all. Not one time. And Crawford, yeah, he's more of a fighter, boxer. Mayweather's more of a boxer. But I have to just...
This opinion adds yet another dimension to the debate. Because like Mayweather, Pacquiao belonged to an era stacked with elite names. Pacquiao's resume includes victories over Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera, Juan Manuel Marquez, Miguel Cotto, Ricky Hatton, and many more. His clashes with Mayweather and Marquez remain defining moments of 2000s boxing history. While Crawford has defeated some of the best of his own time, De La Hoya's point is that the sheer depth of opposition Pacquiao faced and his explosive style would have been overwhelming for Crawford. Still, the conversation remains wide open. What do you think? Could we realistically see Crawford versus Mayweather in the near future, or will this rivalry remain a debate for the ages?